How, on a scale of 1 to 10, should Tennessee fans be concerned about the tailback position? Answer that question first, if you don't mind, Caleb, and then explain to me why at our 3:45 a.m. production meeting you said Tennessee should be very concerned. What say you, Caleb Calhoun? And let's hear from you on the message board.
They should be through the roof concerned. I might even make it an 11, quite honestly, at this point. And here is the issue. Tennessee, for those who don't know, held Dylan Sampson out of the first scrimmage Friday. No issue there. That's fine.
Sure. Proven guy. He's completely healthy. There's no cause for concern based off of everything that I've been told.
Yes, exactly. They then proceeded to give DeSean Bishop the primary amount of reps. Josh Heupel said after the game, he was asked who stood out. The first person he said was DeSean Bishop had a really nice night. I'm sorry, guys. That means he took the most reps in scrimmage. That means Peyton Lewis is not ready. That means Tennessee doesn't have a feature back. I don't care what you guys say. DeSean Bishop can't be a feature back. Cam Selden can't be a feature back. Dylan Sampson can't be a feature back. Khalifa Keith can't be a feature back. Peyton Lewis is the only one on this list that can do that, okay? And DeSean Bishop is kind of the build of a feature back, but he's just not going to be good enough. So for him to get the most reps, and that suggests Peyton Lewis has not come along. And Peyton Lewis not coming along is a huge, huge issue for Tennessee. They should be significantly concerned about the running backs, honestly. They got problems. I'm just going to say they have problems. That's DeSean Bishop took the most reps out of desperation on Friday, more than anything else.
So today's tough question, I posted the poll, is also our poll on the YouTube page. And it is, I am blank about Tennessee's running back position. Very concerned or okay with it. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm okay with it because I think that Tennessee has options that they didn't have with Dylan Sampson out of the backfield, extended running plays via the pass, and I think he'll be able to avoid contact. Now, I think the question I have is Khalifa Keith. Is there a guy that's going to be able to power in there in the A and B gap and be the running team that this team has been and prided itself on under Josh Heupel? Now, Peyton Lewis, I'm not surprised as a freshman, and I may seem like old fuddy-duddy day, but the first scrimmage and being a true freshman, he probably does not have the best grasp of pass protection, and it's probably not a bad idea to remind him he's a freshman either, Caleb, to be real honest with you. So I think that probably was a factor in Peyton Lewis not being ready. I want to take a step back on DeSean Bishop because he felt like just the local guy that Tennessee took as a feel-good story, right? But he's hung around, and we're not in spring camp right now. If we were in spring camp, Caleb, I have seen so many tailbacks just like DeSean Bishop have big spring camps and disappear. Maybe you remember Kirsten Biggers. Maybe you remember Michael Stewart, who actually went on to have a good career at Hawaii. I could go on. David Yancey. Oh, he was an engineering major. Do you remember any of these names, Caleb?
I remember David Yancey. That's the only one.
Okay, those were all guys that had huge springs at running back. And you're thinking, oh, they're going to be stars. No, they were just taking up carries because Tennessee didn't want to bang up their go-to back. This is preseason camp. So there is reason to be concerned in scrimmage number 2 if you have a situation in which Yancey is, I'm sorry, not Yancey, Bishop. If you have Bishop as your leading talk out of the tailback position, that would be concerning. However, this is preseason camp, and he's hung around now for 3 years, Caleb. I think it's time we give DeSean Bishop his due. This is preseason camp. This is not spring camp. Maybe he's better than we all think. The fact that he's participating in the first scrimmage extensively is a sign of that. And I think we're selling DeSean Bishop short.
You don't think he's just a smart person thinking, hey, I may not play, but I'm getting a free degree? Like, and I get to be a contributor on the team he probably grew up as a fan of his whole life. What if he wasn't even really thinking that hard about football? You know, there are kids like that.
Well, I think that was a factor. I think that also, I've reported this before. It hasn't really been out there, but there's a group, and I don't know that Bishop is one of them, but there's a group putting together what is essentially NIL for walk-ons. So they're providing money to walk on. So it's not as if he had to make the decision to come to Tennessee as opposed to go to a much smaller school to get a scholarship. So yeah, I think there's some of that, but I think you're implying he came to Tennessee not expecting to compete for a starting position.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm implying.
I would have agreed with you 7 days ago before he's a standout in Tennessee's first scrimmage. And then I'm gonna say DeSean Bishop can be a real player in the fall. Now the question is, can he be a featured back in the fall? And that would be very surprising.
Well, if he can be a real player, I'll say this. If he can be average, and guys, a running back, a feature back only needs to be average in Tennessee's system. Their offense was through the roof, record-setting in 2022, and Jabari Small was their main running back. Like Jabari Small, hard runner, smart player, average talent. Right, Dave? Is that safe to say?
Yes.
So you only need to be average. But he's the only one. But Peyton Lewis is the only one I felt that could be at least average at all the aspects of playing running back. Dylan Sampson will never be better than below average at pass blocking.
Will you do me a favor?
Sure.
Okay, not to get you sidetracked. I'm sorry. Will you look up Jabari Small's size going into the 2022 season? Is there a way that we could find that? Because I know that he put on 15 pounds and he wasn't very big. Bishop's not very big. Sampson's not very big. Portions of the program, while you're checking on that, brought to you by our friends at Work Trucks, all about trucks that are actually available, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the perfect vehicle right there and ready for you. Time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down. It has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks with an X does, intent on offering that while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting is about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips and trucks that pass the highest standard to be put to work. The process is quick and easy when choosing a truck from Work Trucks. If you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks. They've got that Knapheide work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, anything special. Work Trucks with an X carries the trucks that your business has to have. You need Work Trucks. Clinton Highway in Knoxville and downtown Birmingham. For the entire inventory, go to Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. The perfect vehicle you have to have. Work Trucks, proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols. How big was Jabari Small going in?
5'11", 213.
So he's 13 pounds heavier than Dylan Sampson. How much does that 13 pounds carry in your mind as a feature tailback?
Well, I don't just think it's the weight. I think it's the desire. I think Dylan Sampson's protecting himself. People talk about his lightweight. I watched him last year in that Citrus Bowl. That wasn't a weight thing. That was, I don't want to get touched by this guy coming at me.
So he's not a physical player.
No, he's soft. He's soft. And I think he's protecting himself and has no care whatsoever if his quarterback gets rocked.
Well, how about finesse? I don't know that he's soft. How about more of a finesse player?
I think more of just, can we say selfish player and is thinking about his NFL future and doesn't really care.
Okay, well, if that's I don't think that was the case last year. And from all I've been told, he is a really selfless player. But if he's thinking about his NFL future, you know what he better do? He better pass block this upcoming year. Because the NFL is a passing league too, just like Josh Heupel's offense is a passing offense. So he better pass block and he better prove that he can run the football between the tackles at times. Now, I know the NFL is going to find ways to utilize him in other ways, and they're not going to have an issue of not having a featured back theoretically in the NFL. But I do think Tennessee has that issue. And I think Tennessee is a Jalen Wright away from saying this is the ideal offense for Josh Heupel. but they don't have him, and I think they have to make do. So if they have to make do with Dylan Sampson as a featured back, and Peyton Lewis is not the guy, you just said that they don't have to have an elite runner, Caleb. Does this ultimately affect Tennessee's success level?
Yes. Yes. Tennessee, a lot of their offense is driven by their ability to run the football. I mean, it absolutely affects their success level. I mean, again, I can't stress that enough. This is a huge deal if they don't have I don't want to say elite runner, a complete runner. If they don't have a complete back, yes, it's a really, really, really big deal.
Okay. My stance on this is I think Dylan Sampson can be that back. I don't think we have seen all of Josh Heupel's offense, and I think you'll find ways to get him outside of the pocket and do different things.